Well, when it comes to baffling decisions in the theme parks, many times Disney takes the cake. You could say one of the baffling decisions that Disney has made in the recent history is changing out Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but I would say in that same context, probably even more baffling than changing out Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure was the fact that in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, they did not include a major character and a major villain that people love, which is Dr. Facilier, and for reasons that we'll go into in this video here, but that was one of the more baffling ones, and some of the changes they made to characters in there seemingly to avoid the topic of voodoo, even though Disney uses Dr. Facilier at the Halloween parties, and he's featured in other areas, especially Disney World and Disneyland. And it's weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, especially when you have a character that is popular from what I would argue Princess and the Frog is not necessarily it's not a massive IP that had this huge box office success, but obviously it has its audience here, but to not include a major character from that movie into its own ride was a strange move. Well, we have an article here from that park place that's pointing out that even though they wouldn't include Dr. Facilier in the ride, they're selling Dr. Facilier merchandise, albeit the same, which is kind of strange. So we're going to go through this and get some thoughts on it here. So hi, I'm Jared with Captain Magic, and all this stems here from Five Fires and he's in Disneyland. It says, don't put him in the ride, but we'll sell them next to each other. And this is Tiana's Bayou Adventure little statue, and then you have a Dr. Facilier one right next to it, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I will agree. It says, Disney's Tiana Bayou Adventure, the reimagining of Splash Mountain, has made headlines once again, this time for its merchandise choices. While the ride itself purposely steers clear of voodoo entirely, supposedly for the sake of cultural sensitivity, merchandise of Dr. Facilier, the voodoo villain of The Princess and the Frog, prominently graces the gift shop shelves. The glaring contradiction highlights Disney's complicated relationship with cultural representation, virtue signaling, leaving fans questioning why the character was omitted from the attraction but still deemed marketable. I've had the same question for a while, especially when they didn't put him in the ride. I was like, oh, well, are they then going to remove him from the Hocus Pocus show and elements of like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party? No, he's still in there. Probably just as much. I don't think anything changed. I think he's in there just as much as he always has been. Reports suggest that Dr. Facilier, the sinister yet charismatic villain of The Princess and the Frog, was excluded from Tiana's Bayou Adventure because the Disney Stories Matter department no longer wants to depict voodoo. Allegedly, this is part of a broader effort to avoid offending practitioners of voodoo who have previously criticized the entertainment giant's portrayal of their beliefs. Stories Matter is a division of the Walt Disney Company charged with altering existing content and experiences to bring them more in line with modern-day politically correct sensibilities. It was the Stories Matter department that initially decreed Disney had to change the popular Splash Mountain attraction into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's also the department responsible for cultural sensitivity notices in front of movies like Dumbo, Peter Pan, and several episodes of The Muppet Show. The cautious approach extends to Mama Odie, who has been rebranded as a Bayou fairy godmother in Tiana's Bayou Adventure rather than her original depiction as a quirky voodoo priestess. The backlash against Disney's portrayal of voodoo is not new. In 2010, Michelle Gonzalez Maldonado, Ph.D., a senior vice president of the University of Scranton, wrote the scathing critique of The Princess and the Frog's handling of the subject. Disney appears to have taken such critiques to heart, perhaps too much. The removal of voodoo from Tiana's Bayou Adventure might seem like an easy solution, but it also sanitizes the cultural richness of The Princess and the Frog. The irony is that Disney steers clear of voodoo. It has no qualm showcasing other ancient religious systems. Marvel's Thor franchise has glorified Norse mythology for over a decade, presenting figures like Odin, Thor, and Loki in ways that romanticize their divine roles and often mock them by portraying them as foolish. Similarly, Disney's Hercules celebrates Greek mythology, complete with larger-than-life portrayals of Zeus, Hades, and the Olympians. Hercules is also slated to get a Disney live-action remake soon, and rumors are already swirling about inauthentic casting. These mythologies are treated as fair game for entertainment, even though they are still recognized as spiritual beliefs by some. Adding to the inconsistency, Disney often uses these stories as opportunities for forced diversity. Recent Marvel projects have taken liberties with casting and characterization, prioritizing modern social agendas over cultural authenticity. Disney seems comfortable adapting European myths as long as they can tweak them to align with contemporary sensibilities, but when it comes to voodoo, the company retreats entirely. So why is voodoo too sensitive for Disney while Norse and Greek mythologies are freely adapted, modified, and reimagined? The answer lies in Disney's selective application of cultural respect. Instead of engaging with voodoo practitioners to create an authentic and balanced depiction, Disney chose erasure, a move that undermines its claim to champion diversity and inclusion. It's a valid point. The decision to exclude Dr. Facilier from Tiana's Bayou Adventure while selling his merchandise also reveals the true motivation: profit. Always what it is. Don't ever think that a major corporation is on a champion for your cause or your buddy in a fight, if you think that's what it is. At the end of the day, all of these companies want to make money. They will take whatever side they feel they need to take if that's going to lead them to more money. Now, doesn't mean that people inside the company feel certain ways, and they may actually lean toward, they have certain inclinations, but at the end of the day, they want to make money. And most of these companies are not going to forfeit money over a belief system. Now, Disney has decided over the past few years to make some really boneheaded moves in many different areas. But a lot of that, I do believe, is that they thought that this was going to be the way for more money. I think that's why they did it. Obviously, the results have proven otherwise, and you've seen Disney change their approach now after seeing the negative feedback and basically the loss of money there. So at the end of the day, it's always profit. Disney continues to capitalize on the character's popularity without addressing the deeper issues surrounding its portrayal of voodoo or lack thereof in the case of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Once again, the company finds itself caught between its own ideals and its bottom line, leaving fans to wonder whether cultural respect is truly a priority or just another marketing ploy. I mean, the thing with it, whatever your thoughts are on voodoo or different types of religious aspects in different properties, it doesn't make any sense to have Princess and the Frog, which one of the most popular characters from that movie is Dr. Facilier. He has been and is currently featured at Halloween stuff. They don't hide him in that aspect. You decide you're going to create a Princess and the Frog ride, but in that ride, you then deem Voodoo and Dr. Facilier as inappropriate. You can't have him because it's it's culturally insensitive and whatever the reasons are. So if that's how you feel about it, then you should also remove all mentions and aspects of him from everything else in your theme park, because how is it that it's insensitive to have it on Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but it's not insensitive to have him as part of the Hocus Pocus show or featured with Halloween? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And this is the thing I've said for a long time with Disney. If they really believed a lot of these things, they would behave differently. It seems like they just want to pick and choose, and they decided for whatever reason that it was okay. It wasn't okay here, but in the same theme park in another area, different time of year, it's perfectly fine. And out in Disneyland, they'll sell Dr. Facilier merchandise and T-shirts and toys. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're going to take a stand, take your stand, but don't take your stand and then act like any depictions of this or even wanting this is a bad thing, but then you're also turning around and making money on it and still featuring it in your parks. That part, to me, makes no sense. I still think it's a major mistake to have Tiana's Bayou Adventure not feature Dr. Facilier. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Princess and the Frog. I'm not a huge fan of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but I do still think it's a mistake. First off, I think it's a mistake not to just make the ride based off the movie. I think Disney gets in this bad habit of basing these rides and lands off extensions. It's extending the story from the movies when you could simply just tell the story of the movie in the ride. But it's also a pretty big mistake not featuring Dr. Facilier. He's a major part of that movie, and then you're changing Mama Odie from what her character was to some other thing inside the ride. Again, it's just this thing that doesn't make a lot of sense, and obviously at the end of the day, they still sell these because they do sell people like Dr. Facilier, and they want to make money. So all I would say is either feature him in the ride, or if you think it's inappropriate, then you should be removing him from every aspect of the parks, and it shouldn't be available to buy. He should be featured at Halloween. I just feel like that's common sense. I mean, that would be like in my household saying that, our children cannot watch a certain movie in the living room, but they can go watch it in their room, and that's fine. That doesn't make any sense just logically. So I feel the same way about this. But, I mean, I'm not surprised by it. I just think it's one of these things when you do see it, and I don't know if Disney just figures people won't notice, or at the end of the day, they're just seeing how it goes, and obviously people want this stuff. But whoever they listened to about Tiana's Bayou Adventure not putting it in the ride, I do think it was a mistake. But at the same time, if you're going to go down that road, go all the way down the road. Or it just seems like you're a hypocrite, and you're just basically trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're trying to seem like you're being very sensitive, and you get the points and the accolades from this group of people for making a change that they have wanted, but you're also over here still trying to use that character to make money to appease the people that want to see the character. Ultimately, you can't have that both ways, but it seems like Disney is trying to do that. Either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about Disney seemingly not having Dr. Facilier as part of the ride, but still selling his merchandise outside of Tiana's Bayou Adventure? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.